Hi, I'm Amy, and this video is about customizing a curriculum for my Charlotte Mason homeschool. So as you know from my other videos, we are just getting started with year one of our Charlotte Mason homeschool, and we are mostly using Ambleside Online. But as I've mentioned before, curriculum is a tool and not a master. And so I want to talk a little bit about how I'm making customizations to Ambleside Online so that it can suit our family and our needs. So, some pretty important things for my family's context are that I'm American and my husband is British and we live in England. So, that means that we are not going to have quite the same needs as a family all living in the US or all living in another country. We really want to honor both of our heritages and our children's education. That's one of the reasons why we homeschool. So we really want to be thoughtful about what we're including from any curriculum that we do. So here's a couple of places where we've made a few changes or anticipating making some changes coming up. So probably a really easy one is history. Obviously, American history is a wide and vast subject, but we also want to be very thoughtful about including British history and European history in our kids' education. So with AO, this is pretty easy for now because year one starts with British history. But as we go forward, we will probably think about substituting some books around and making a few changes just to make sure that we get the balance right in their education. Now, this also goes for geography. Right now, we're reading Paddle to the Sea for year one, which I love. I grew up going on family vacations near Lake Michigan, and it's just such a fun thing to study with my year one student. But I also decided to add in a little short and sweet book about the geography of England and Wales. This is where we live, and we really need to make an effort to include the geography of where we live, especially towards the early years of our kids' education. So that's something that we've added in order to make sure that it's represented in our kids' education. Now, another area that's maybe obvious is nature study. So I already mentioned that we have the Burgess Bird Book, which is beautiful and lovely, but those aren't actually the birds that we are most likely to see outside our back window. So we've decided to substitute for school with a book called Birds of the Air by Arabella Buckley, and it's British birds, and it's written to really help children learn about birds who live in England. So that was kind of, and so we'll save the Burgess Bird Book for when we go to visit my parents. It's something that we'll still use and enjoy. But for school, for a narration, we've decided to pop in a different book that is more representative of what we are likely to see. Because I want my kids to know the birds that they're going to have more of a relationship with. Another place where we've made a few changes from the AO rotation is with picture study. So this isn't a huge change, but we are going to London next month as a family, and we're going to have the opportunity to see some Turner paintings in person. So Turner isn't meant to come up until next term on the AO rotation, but this is too good of an opportunity to miss. So we decided to swap things around and do Turner a little bit early, and then we are swapping with a different artist for the next term. Because ultimately the rotation is great, but we don't have to follow it if it makes sense. And it makes too much sense to expose my kids to this beautiful, wonderful artist that they get to see in person and let them have the opportunity having done the picture study around his artwork. So another area where we're going off rotation that I've already mentioned in another video is with hymns and folk songs. And I talked briefly about how we are going a little bit on our own way. Now, I love corporate learning. I love the idea of learning things along with other homeschooling families around the world. But right now, for the early years, we're wanting to just lay a good foundation. And also, my kids are starting to request songs to learn during our morning time together. And I think it's totally fair to follow their enthusiasm here. If they've heard something that they really enjoy and they want to learn it, I think it honors that enthusiasm by making a space for that during our formal time together. So that's another reason why we're shifting things around, is that my kids have expressed interest in learning particular things, and I think it's great to include that in our homeschool. So these are just some of the things that we've done in order to customize our curriculum. And I put it out there not because this is the way everybody has to do it, but because everybody's going to have different circumstances that will inform the way they use a curriculum in their homeschool. So I think it's so helpful to know that you can make these decisions and stand confidently in them, because we're using curriculum as a tool rather than something that we have to follow and to tick all the boxes and do exactly right. So let me know what are the changes that you've made to your homeschool curriculums. Have you completely made up your own? Are you following one loosely? Are you following it to a T? I would love to hear a little bit about your homeschooling journey.